Imagine waking up in a frozen basement. The temperature is 20 degrees below zero. You haven't slept in 3 days, and your uniform is crawling with lice. Above you, the invincible German Sixth Army is dropping thousands of tons of bombs, turning the city into a burning graveyard. Behind you is the freezing Volga River. If you try to cross it to escape, your own commanders have orders to shoot you on sight. You have nowhere to run. Your only option is to grab your rifle, step into the burning rubble, and survive the next 10 minutes. Welcome to Stalingrad, the deadliest single battle in human history, where the life expectancy of a newly arrived soldier was measured not in weeks but in hours. By the autumn of 1942, Stalin's Order 227 had echoed across the ruins, not one step back. But the Soviet General Vasily Chukov realized something brilliant and terrifying. To survive the relentless German airstrikes, he ordered his men to hug the enemy. Soviet troops positioned themselves just 50 meters away from the German front lines. They stood so close that the German Luftwaffe could not bomb the Soviets without blowing up their own men. The fighting devolved into something the 20th century had never seen. The Germans called it Rattenkrieg, the War of the Rats. It was a medieval siege with modern weapons. Men fought hand-to-hand with sharpened spades and axes for a single kitchen, a hallway, or a shattered staircase. You could control the living room, while the enemy occupied the bedroom. While the Germans were bleeding to capture every inch of rubble, the Soviets were preparing a trap. On November 19, 1942, Operation Uranus was launched. A massive Soviet counteroffensive smashed through the weaker Romanian flanks, drawing a circle around the city. In just a few days, over 250,000 German soldiers of the Sixth Army were completely trapped. Hitler refused to let them break out, promising to supply them by air. It was a fatal delusion. Winter arrived. Temperatures plummeted to minus 30 degrees Celsius. German soldiers, dressed in summer uniforms, began to freeze to death at their posts. Men ate their horses, then the dogs, and eventually the rats. On February 2, 1943, the guns finally fell silent. Out of the 91,000 freezing German soldiers who surrendered, fewer than 6,000 would ever see Germany again. The cost of Stalingrad breaks the human mind. Nearly 2 million people, soldiers and civilians from both sides, were killed, wounded, or captured in just 200 days. Stalingrad broke the back of the Nazi war machine. It was the turning point of World War II. But this victory wasn't won with superior technology or brilliant tactics. It was won in the blood, the freezing mud, and the unimaginable endurance of the men and women who stood in the fire and refused to take one step back.